She dropped Mike Tyson's name into her nickname without ever throwing a punch anywhere near his weight class. She's never met him, never sparred with him, never even fought in the same country. And yet, every time footage of her surfaces online, someone in the comments writes the same 3 words: female Mike Tyson. Watch her walk to the ring and you'll understand why. Her opponents don't look nervous. They look like they already know how this ends. That's not hype talking. That's instinct. Her name is Mona Kimura. 4 professional fights, 4 wins. Before she ever turned pro, she'd already collected 7 national karate titles as a kid, then went on to become Japan's national boxing champion and represented her country at the World Championships. And somewhere in her training camp, she developed a kick so devastating that Tokyo gyms straight up gave it a nickname of its own. Today we're breaking down all 4 of her professional fights from start to finish. By the end, you can decide for yourself if the Tyson comparison holds up, or if she's actually something the sport hasn't seen before. Let's get into it. When Mike Tyson was coming up, he wasn't winning close decisions. He was ending men in the opening minute and making the entire boxing world rethink what a heavyweight was supposed to look like. Mona's pro debut did something eerily similar to Japanese kickboxing. It lasted 1 minute and 32 seconds, but it didn't start the way anyone expected. Fighting at the legendary Korakuen Hall, Mona opens with her hands instead of her signature kicks, which throws everyone off. Then, the first time she loads up that famous kick, her opponent, a veteran named Ajiwara, reads it, catches it clean, and puts her on the canvas. For one uncomfortable second, the hyped-up debutante is in real trouble. Then she gets back up like the floor personally insulted her. From that moment, the entire fight flips. A crisp left hand finds Ajiwara's jaw and drops her. She climbs back to her feet, but you can already tell this fight isn't ending any other way than on the ground. Seconds later, a right hook seals it. 1 minute, 32 seconds. Knockout on debut. Then comes the part that makes her genuinely unsettling to watch. The bow. Calm, respectful, almost gentle. Tyson used to terrify people with pure rage before the bell even rang. Mona does the opposite. She's polite about it, and somehow that's more intimidating. Now, a fast knockout on your debut could be written off as luck. Maybe the veteran was overconfident. Maybe it was a lucky shot. That's exactly what skeptics assumed, until her next fight proved this wasn't a fluke at all. Her second opponent, Yuka, came in with a smart game plan on paper. Survive round 1, drag Mona into deeper rounds, and wear her down through sheer volume and fatigue. The problem is that surviving Mona's opening round doesn't actually solve anything. It just delays the inevitable and adds more damage to the bill. Round after round, the pattern repeats itself. Sidekicks to the ribs, sidekicks upstairs to the head. Yuka gets stuck at the edge of Mona's range with absolutely no way to close the distance safely. Even the shots that do land seem to mean nothing. Mona absorbs them and immediately takes control again, like she barely registered getting hit. Eventually, a brutal body kick puts Yuka on the mat, and the fight goes to a unanimous decision. Technically, Yuka becomes the only opponent to hear the final bell against Mona. Sounds impressive until you realize surviving and actually competing are 2 completely different things. Here's why the Tyson comparison genuinely fits, and it's not really about raw power. It's about the formula both fighters used. Tyson built his entire career around one perfected weapon, that peekaboo hook, thrown with terrifying precision over and over. Mona built hers around a sidekick so sharp and so repeatable that fight fans in Tokyo started calling it by its own name. That foundation goes all the way back to childhood. She started karate at age 4, and her training included hours of one-legged balance drills that most kids would have quit on day 1. That balance is exactly what lets her fight almost completely side-on, whipping that kick out like it's a jab. No wind-up, no telegraph, nothing for an opponent to read or defend against. Tyson never wasted a single punch in his prime. Mona never wastes a single kick. That's the real parallel between them. It's not really the style. It's the efficiency of violence where every single strike has a purpose, and that purpose is always to finish the fight as fast as possible. Fight number 3 brought in Satoko Azawa, a 41-year-old veteran with years of experience navigating the Japanese circuit. Exactly the type of durable, savvy opponent who's supposed to shut down aggressive young fighters like Mona. That experience lasted exactly 1 round standing. In round 1 alone, Mona attacks from every conceivable angle. By the time the bell rings, Azawa's face is already swollen and bleeding from a cut. In Japanese women's kickboxing, actual blood in the ring is rare. The crowd at Korakuen Hall goes dead silent, and Mona just keeps firing at the same pace, completely unbothered, like the blood changes nothing about her plan. Round 2 gets even more aggressive. The cut splits open again. The referee finally walks Azawa to her corner for a look. It doesn't matter. The doctor checks the wound, checks the bleeding, and immediately waves the fight off. Medical stoppage. Azawa walks away needing stitches. Mona walks away with another perfect bow. Tyson used to put opponents in the hospital, and people called him the most feared man on the planet. Mona leaves veterans bleeding on the canvas and follows it up with a bow so respectful it almost feels like an apology. Different sport, same terrifying result. Then came the fight that actually tested whether all this hype was real. This was K1, the biggest platform in Japanese kickboxing, and standing across from her was, finally, a legitimately dangerous opponent. Eun Ji Choi, a Max FC champion out of South Korea with 19 professional fights under her belt, nearly 5 times Mona's experience level. If Mona was overrated, this was the fight where it would show. Round 1, Choi comes in with a clear scouting report. She tries cutting off the ring and shutting down Mona's kicking range early. What she quickly finds out is that studying that signature kick and actually stopping it are 2 completely different problems. Round 2, Choi shifts to close-range boxing exchanges, hopping to find an opening there instead. Same result. Mona's hands turn out to be just as sharp as her legs, and the Korean champion can't land anything clean. By round 3, Choi is visibly frustrated, and that's exactly when Mona lands the same straight left that finished Ajiwara on debut, this time square on the nose. It splits open immediately. That's the second opponent she's bloodied in a row. And true to form, Mona doesn't speed up or celebrate. She just keeps throwing at the exact same rhythm, like the blood is a minor scheduling detail. The judges scored a clean sweep, 30-27 across all 3 cards. A perfect shutout against an international champion, on her K1 debut no less. An opponent with 19 professional fights couldn't win a single round against her. So here's where we land. 4 professional fights, 4 wins. A 92-second knockout to open her career. 2 separate opponents left bleeding. A complete shutout against a champion with 5 times her experience. 7 karate titles before high school, a national boxing crown, and a kick so recognizable it earned its own nickname in gyms across Tokyo. Tyson made careers end with 1 punch. Mona makes them end with 1 kick. Tyson had opponents visibly rattled before the opening bell. Mona's opponents look defeated the moment they lock eyes at the face-off. Different fighter, different sport, completely different era, but somehow, that exact same feeling of watching something inevitable unfold. So now it's your turn. Is Mona Kimura genuinely the female version of Mike Tyson? Or is she building something the combat sports world hasn't actually seen before and just doesn't have a name for yet? Drop your take in the comments below. If this breakdown kept you hooked, smash that like button, subscribe for more fighter deep dives, and let us know who you want us to break down next.